I just talk this way?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
that's fine. I don't know what it is, how God made us, but somehow things just clicked for me at age 13. I knew that that was somebody special. We didn't always get along very well. For 6 years, we enjoyed one another through our high school years. When I was playing basketball, we were together mostly. When we wasn't playing basketball, then she would. There was a lot of issues during those years as you matured. But even very young, God guides you. God somehow knows just exactly what you need. Our marriage didn't start off on the greatest in the world, the most favorable. The day after we came home from our honeymoon, I had a draft notice to go into the armed forces. Having been together 4 or 5 days, you get a notice. And by our anniversary, it's January the 10th. And I was on my way to training in the Army February the 16th. 17th. It was 17th of February. So that first 6 months, we didn't see one another very much. She traveled. It took about 2 days driving to come to where I was. And our grandparents were nearby mine. And Tina would stay with the grandparents, and I would drive on the weekends, about 2 or 3 weekends. We got to see one another. Then I went back east. And so we were separated for quite a while. But by the time of fall, I was able to have Tina come to where I was. So on our first anniversary, we hadn't been together a whole lot. As married people, we had courted for 6 years. So I wanted to make it special. They have a commissary, they call, on the Army base, where we could go in and buy a discount. And so all of the cards, birthday, anniversary, and they were under glass. You didn't, they weren't on a shelf, but they were under a glass.
Yes.
And I can remember reading each one as I was trying to find that perfect one. And finally I thought this was it. And I pointed there, and the lady behind the counter picked up the card, put it in the envelope, and handed it to me. So I took it home where we were staying, and I thought this was the way a husband ought to do. And I gave her the card, and she opened it up, and it said, "Happy birthday." Tina burst in tears. The night was ruined.
It's not my birthday.
Not my birthday, she said. She was lonely for her parents and for friends, and then for me to do something like that. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. I had a thought there I was going to bring, then I don't know, I lost that thought. I've lost a few along the way. But Tina, on our 35th anniversary, she said, let's just do something for ourselves. We had not taken any time off, pastoring, working, she working, busy family. And it's wintertime in January at home. And so it's always a pleasure to go south, to Arizona, to Mexico.
Yes.
It's warm weather. And I said, well, Tina said, I don't want to pack any church clothes. I just want to take my swimsuit and casual clothes
With a skinny
and get in the sun. And I said, okay, let's begin to plan. This was in early fall. And this is honest God. It wasn't about 2 weeks after that. I get an invitation for a missionary conference in Mexico. In Mexico. And I looked at the date. January the 10th. And Tina said, life is not a rose garden.
God constantly reminds me that it's not a playground.
Yeah,
it's
a battlefield.
Battlefield. This world is not a playground, it's a battlefield.
And the missionary people were named Barons, and I had met them at some conference somewhere. They were in southeastern part of Mexico, on the Gulf side.
Not even near
100 miles inland from the ocean. High up in the mountains. And our 35th anniversary was spent in a Mexican town called Thomas and Charlie. That's how we said it. Thomas and Charlie. And our bed was made out of cement with a foam on it about like that. Racks running all around. We had one plug-in, and that was in the bathroom. And this is how we celebrated our 35th anniversary. And the town people didn't want us there because they would go out and let the air out of our tires just to get back where we were in a very remote place. And the people treated us so nice.
the church people.
The church people. It was a great time together. And I remember they did an anniversary cake for us.
Oh.
With the candles and, just really nice.
Yeah.
And they were cooking tortillas on hot rocks back there. But they just decorated up, and it was so nice, and we have a picture of that. Mm-hmm. And Tina has it somewhere, and I don't know how it happened, but it was a double exposure. Remember that?
Our camera doesn't do the...
And it don't do it. It's a double exposure, us with the people, and then this cake, anniversary cake. And so...
The people in the background
with their hands stretched out like that.
Yeah.
Happy anniversary.
Even in this, our life has been really interesting and an adventure. But it's the thing that gets you through is that you are aware and in confidence that God has put you together.
Yes.
Amen. And I have been required to travel quite a lot without Tina, not by choice, just because of circumstance and finance and things. And usually, when I'm away 2 weeks, it's very difficult for my mind to focus on ministry. I get thinking about Tina, home, where you're comfortable, anyway. And I told Tina, I said, it becomes almost torture to me to be away longer than 2 weeks. And I said, but when you're with me, that's home.
Yeah.
That's home.
Really.
We're at home together. We have been away almost 3 weeks now from home, but I don't have that anxious spirit. If I was here alone, it would be real anxious like last year.
Yes.
Maybe you don't know, but I'm real anxious on the inside. And I've really had to struggle with focus. So your wife is your home.
Yes.
You're wherever they are, it's home. That's where you're at peace. And so God just simply made it that way. So I'm thankful that God has preserved us and helped us through the years.
Amen.
We don't know how many more we have to go, how many anniversaries.
Amen.
Who's counting anyway? I quit counting. Amen. I know, how's the time? How do you want,
It's okay.
how much
Pastor.
time? Donna,
Maybe
give me some guidelines.
maybe 15, 10 or 10 minutes.
About how much?
10 minutes.
10 minutes. Okay. All right.
I'm sorry I took it so much time.
I believe every one of us
So we
wants
can
to
help
build
You have one?
a solid marriage. I have it written down, an affair-proof marriage, where each partner, each spouse, will never entertain an idea of going outside the home to fulfill their needs. And marital conflict is created one of two ways. Couples fail to make each other happy. That's one of them. And then secondly, couples make each other unhappy. That's the second one. Amen. So we want to build a relationship that's going to endure. But if we fail to meet one another's needs, we each have basic needs, man and woman. We must fulfill at least the basic needs. If you don't, then a third party can enter into your marriage and it could be destroyed. And so it's so important to make sure that you are meeting your spouse's needs. Remember, when a man and woman marry, they share high expectations. I know I did. Had a lot of dreams. And they commit themselves to meeting certain intense, necessary, and intimate needs to each other on an exclusive basis. Only you can meet those needs. So each one agrees, forsake all others. Number one, put that in your mind. No other one enters the picture. So you actually give each other the exclusive right to meet these intimate needs. And I just want to mention the needs, and we'll see how much comments we can make. Now, I'll mention man's 5 most basic needs, as they are in importance. 1, sexual fulfillment. This is for man. Number 1 need. 2, recreational companionship. Number 2. 3, an attractive spouse. 4, domestic support. 5, admiration. That's man's needs, basic needs. Woman's basic needs. 1, affection. Affection. 2, conversation, talking. If I can use the slang, communicating, talking to one another. Whether you feel like it or not. Number 3, honesty and openness. 4, 4, financial support. 5, family commitment. 6 did not even get a listing on the first 5 basic needs. That's what us admirable men who think that we're irresistible ought to get that fact in their mind. Amen. I want to point out, whether you realize it or not, each couple here has opened up a love bank account. Whether you like it or not, you're making deposits and withdrawals on this bank account. So when you were courting and before you married, you had affection, you had conversation, you gave the flowers, and you walked together, you played together, you just enjoyed being together, and the love bank grew. Making deposits in the love bank. Then after marriage, because of responsibility and the workload, less affection, less conversation, less flowers, less walks together, less playtime together, less being together, then less enjoyable sex. The love bank account now goes down. Don't get too quiet. And so, if you're alert, you know things are not well in the home. That the marriage needs some maintenance. So what does the woman do when she realizes that something needs to be fixed in the home? So the natural response for the woman is treat the man as she feels that her needs are. For instance, number one, she'll begin to create an environment of affection. She'll do things special for you, and really, this is what she wants done to her. This is, okay, are you following me?
Yes, yes.
And so, she begins to do special things for her husband so that he would be affectionate to her. But the husband, he is not very smart. He thinks his wife is coming on to him. And immediately he gets aroused into the bedroom they go. And that's not what she wanted. She just wanted a little attention.
Yes, that's right.
But we misinterpreted what she was trying to do. And so a man, when things are not going right, so he all of a sudden turns into a sex maniac trying to fix the marriage. And what it does is drive the wife away, not understanding she was wanting affection, some conversation, some assurance, and he thought, well, boy, she is really taken with me. And here we go. And instead of improving the marriage, it goes downhill.
Yes.
Because we're not understanding
Each other.
one another's needs. Do you hear that?
Yes.
All right.
Preach it, brother.
Preach
Yeah.
it.
Preach it.
The first thing, men, I'm talking to you tonight. Tina talks to the women, I'm talking to the men. The first thing your wife cannot do without is affection.
Yes.
Hear it. A little story. Jane met Richard. He was 6 feet 3 inches tall. He weighed 100 195 pounds. Richard was athletic, rugged, handsome, strong, the silent type. And when he held her in his arms, it felt exciting. Wow, she said, we have the chemistry. This is going to work. They got married. After a while, Jane noticed that when she needed some affection and conversation, when she cuddled Richard, immediately he became sexually aroused and it ended up in the bedroom. The strong and silent type had really covered his tendencies